Welcome, guys, to our weekly Thursday VIP call. We had a little break, I think 2 or 3 weeks, because there was so much going on. I really didn't have the time, but we kick it off and we kick it off strong. Um, I think, I was thinking, how can we provide as much value as we can in those calls? And I was had a conversation with the whole Apke brothers universe. Learned there's like a lot of them, right? And I think you know them as the guys that launched the land portal. I think you know them as the guys that own droners.io, that do brilliant education, do a bunch of deals. And today we have Mike Apke with us, who will talk about droners.io. And I'm really excited for that because, I feel like disposition and marketing on the dispo side is a thing nobody talks about, right? Like it's like this, everyone talks, how do I get more leads and have all this fancy like acquisition and lead generation softwares and all of that. And yeah, and I was on with Mike last week and we had a lot of common points. And for us, like drone footage was like a major thing that improved our sales conversions drastically, right? Because it makes it feel real instead of advertising with all the stock images and like we like style things. It's there, and I was pretty excited when I invited Mike to come to this call because he's also like a really seasoned land investor. He does land investing himself, so he has like both lances. Like they own a drone company, but they also like do that. And with that said, like Mike, I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invoice. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Mike, bring us a little bit in the picture. Like, who is Mike Apke? What do you do? Who are you? And what do you do today, like in the land investing world? How do you support land investors? Just give us a rundown.
Yeah, so I've been a land investor since about 2021. I was also a software engineer at the time. Primarily now, my land investing, I do a lot of funding and I focus on bigger deals like minor subdivision deals, but I've done the traditional flips for a long time. And so I'm still a land investor, still pretty very heavily in that world. And in early 2024, I acquired the business droners.io. And the main reason I acquired it is I don't know if any of you use droners. I was a longtime user of droners, so I believe in the platform. I loved it. And then all of a sudden it just stopped working one day. And I found out its parent company was going out of business. So I ended up looking into it and went to a chapter seven, long story short, went to a chapter seven bankruptcy auctioned at this federal court, bankruptcy court, acquired droners, bought droners. Shortly after I bought droners, quit my full time job. So that's my career right now is droners.io, trying to build that platform. And what we are is the largest marketplace in the country for commercially licensed drone pilots. So trying to make that just continue to improve that platform, as well as still doing land investing.
I love it. I love it. So bring me a little bit into that. So you were a land investor and you love droners. We used droners in the early days too.
Mhm.
And that went a little bit with a different provider. And I think now droners is back on our picture, just like through the call we had. So because
Mhm.
you evolved the service, walk us a little bit through that. So you were land investing, and this business goes out of business. Like, how do you get like into an auction of a company? Like, how does that work? Like, how does that work?
It was a lot of different steps. At first I went on LinkedIn. I found the old CEO, and he didn't like me. He just told me kind of to buzz off. He didn't want to because he's probably a little upset about the whole thing. And I was contacting old employees. I was calling people. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I was like, I want to buy this. And I talked to my brothers, and I said to them, "I said, you guys want to buy this if I can get it?" And they were in on it. So I ended up finding a company that merged with the parent company of Droners years back, and I found that CEO. And I talked to him on LinkedIn. He's like, "Oh yeah, talk to this guy. There's a trustee that was in charge of the bankruptcy auction." So ended up finding this trustee. You had to put a bid in, like a minimum bid, and that triggered an auction. And then this auction triggered, and we flew down to Raleigh, went to it was like a federal courtroom, Chapter Seven bankruptcy auction, and we were in there bidding. Like it was interesting because the trustee wanted to keep it kind of informal, so we're in the hallway of this federal building, and we're like just getting going bids back and forth, and we ended up winning it. So it was a really neat experience. It was yeah, it was a neat experience and probably something I'll never do again from a bankruptcy court, but it was a cool experience.
Oh, absolutely. So how did that go down? Is it like you come in there, you need to have cash in hands, and then like when you're done, you pay them, or how does all of that work? Like walk us a little bit through like a little excursus maybe of how to acquire a company out of bankruptcy. Maybe people are interested in
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, so you first, there's always going to be a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So that's when they're just fully liquidating everything. They're not coming back. They're done. And so there's going to be a trustee that the court appoints to manage the whole bankruptcy, selling everything, auctioning some things. So you have to come in contact with them. And then they kind of get he gave me it was this guy, he was a nice guy. And it basically said, I can't give you any legal advice. You have to hire your own attorney. So we basically hired attorneys to then communicate with him and we put a bid in. A lot of that work was just done by the attorneys where the what way you had to do is put in a minimum bid and that triggered an auction. And our attorneys kind of handled it, and then you have to show up to the courtroom. And this company was based in Raleigh, North Carolina, so we waited intentionally to trigger it to put our bid into the last minute because we were kind of sneaking in. So we put it in, triggered the auction. I think the day before the auction, we put it in. We bought tickets, and then we bought plane tickets, flew to Raleigh that night, and we were there the next day. And it was more official because we I didn't really know that much about it. So we get to this courtroom, and then all of a sudden we're going through metal detectors. They won't let us take our phones up, won't let us take our laptops up. So it was an interesting experience, very official experience. There was a judge in charge of it. Like we did it in the hallway, but then once we won it, we went in, and there's this judge that kind of ruled it to us. So a lot of the details were handled by the attorneys, and I say what we did is kind of say what we want and showed up.
I love that story. That's pretty cool. That's pretty you just walk me and the listeners a little bit through that. So you were a land investor, you were using
Mm-hmm.
droners, and then you were
Yes.
like, okay, they're going out of business. Like that will be a cool acquisition. What was a little bit the motivation behind that? I guess this way would it go? Like, hey, why would you like suddenly acquire droners to
Yeah.
do that? What was it? What was the thing you tried to solve maybe for yourself or for others with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I noticed, well, a couple things. I wanted to leave my full-time job and I was doing well in land, but I kind of wanted another business as well. Um, yeah, I just want another business. So I was already interested, like I was reading into how to acquire businesses. Wasn't necessarily going to go the bankruptcy auction, but then the opportunity presented and we went for it. The biggest thing we saw, like I saw, because I've worked with a lot of land investors, I know a lot of land investors, I've been in a lot of groups, and a lot of land investors use droners. And we saw a hole in the market where it was just a lot harder to hire drone pilots. And you can have local pilots, but the thing with us, we are doing jobs all over the country. So you'd have to go and find, go to each market, find your pilots versus droners.io where you could just post a job, pilots bid, you can hire that and you can do that anywhere in the country we have pilots that will be able to get to your property, do due diligence, take good drone footage. So I saw really a hole in the market. It just became a lot harder. It's still doable, but it just became a lot harder to hire drone pilots. So that's really where motivation was. I was just solving a problem with that going down. I thought we could really solve a problem for land investors. And we work with people, a lot of other people. We work with a lot of other industries as well, not just land investors. Um, but that's just where I came from. That's the initial thought. And then obviously we have a lot of commercial real estate, we have construction, we have inspections and things like that. But still very focused. That it initially came from what we could do for land investors and solving that problem. I still work with tons of land investors because that's the world that I know better than anything.
I love it. I love it. It's such a cool story. Let's pivot a little bit because you
Sure.
know we both come out of the land investing space and there's a lot of bottlenecks. Let's talk a little bit about disposition of properties, right? Like um, how I see that is nobody's teaching it, and the general answer you get is, oh, list it with a realtor or do like Facebook Marketplace listed on your website, right? Like, and I'm like, dude, that's not what leads to the goal, right? Like, I think in these days where we go through major trust recessions with buyers, right? Like, as well as with sellers, it goes on both sides. Where NAR like sends weekly emails to all their realtors that like fraud is going on all day. Like,
Mhm.
what spot like has drone footage for you in the whole like disposition process of properties? Like what is
Yeah.
that? What makes it so legitimate like compared to like, hey, I just get a couple of satellite pictures, do some Google Earth, and that's it.
Yeah. So it was multifaceted. So my workflow was always I'd get a job under contract, I'd get a deal under contract. I mean, a land deal, get a deal to buy, go through all the due diligence, then I'd send it to title. Right after I sent it to title, I'd hire a drone pilot. By the time I send it to title, I'm 95% sure I'm buying it, maybe even more than that. I've done a lot of due diligence, and then so it's like, okay, I'm okay paying with the drone for the drone pilot now. That's a good time to pay for them, and I'd have partially. So obviously they're going to go and do marketing photos, but they're also going to go and they're going to walk the property. They're going to find any defects. They're going to, they're also, especially on a bigger property, they're going to be getting shots from all the different angles that you might not know about. Like you might have some, that could be wet in the back. Like you might have some hidden wetlands. You might have I've had some properties. I had one that I bought or I was gonna buy, and I ended up buying it at a discount because of this. Like went through that process, sent the drone pilot there, was ready to buy it, and there was like 10,000 tires on the property. Thousand, I don't know, 10,000, thousands of tires, and just trash all over. So fine, and so one of, and I had another one that was, and if you ever use Realtor, they do that as well, but I often don't use Realtors. I had another one that wasn't in any wetlands, and it looked good on, everything looked good. There was no street view just because it was rural. Then the drone pilot gets there, and hey, this is underwater, and he took pictures, of course, and showed me the pictures, like, and I had to pull out of that deal. So it's an extra step of due diligence. Even if you have a realtor going and looking at it, the drone pilot can capture parts of the property that the realtor cannot, especially if it's a bigger property, just because you're doing that view from the sky along with with the ground. So that's huge. And I think the marketing piece, which that's the due diligence is probably less thought of, but the marketing is more. I think it's extremely important for land, maybe more than any other industry, because it's like what I think of it is the first property tour for a potential buyer. And buyers are in land, buyers are limited. Sometimes they're going to have to drive 2 to 3 hours just to go view the property. So if you don't give them a good first impression of the property, they're just going to skip over your listing. Like they don't like so if that's where you really want to make it stand out nice, edited, nice looking photos showing like, all different angles of property, some ground photos as well, nice and edited, just making everything look good, some nice parcel overlays. And but yeah, that's just kind of that first property tour where they get a sense of what that property of what it looks like, so they have incentive to go visit her, so they know what they're looking at. Because if you just have a satellite photo, like yeah, maybe they'll contact you and ask for more information, but there's much higher chance they're just going to keep scrolling because if especially if it's in a remote spot, it could be they might have to fly there, they might have to drive a few hours. They're not going to do it if you don't give them a good first impression.
Yeah, I love. There was so much juice in that, Mike. Like, I think the due diligence part of having somebody with a flying vehicle
Mm-hmm.
going there and physically inspecting and in person inspecting the property is like a huge plus because as you said, like from above you have complete different angles, right? And I've been there, the thousands of tires at a property like that, right?
Yeah.
We found a meth lab, like it was a 48-acre property. It was like somewhere in the back of the
Yeah.
property, like stuff like that, right? That you just don't see, right? And I think that's a huge part because no matter if you're wholesaling or if you're taking it down, you want to have that piece there because when you're wholesaling, you will be confronted with that reality in that moment where a buyer comes in and wants to give you tens of thousands of dollars, if that makes sense, right? Like they're gonna get
Yeah.
out there. The second thing is, I think what you said is around this due diligence piece is that they walk the property and give you feedback about that too, right? Like this is when and we did before droners the same thing you did, like was
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same process. I was just smiling a little bit, but what happened is like you need to find those guys too, right? And then you're hanging out in local Facebook groups and like
Yeah.
Google searches, and nobody answers the phone because they're out there, right? Like and this is I think where it is, but they give you direct feedback, right? Like about what's going
Mm-hmm.
on. How are the neighbors, right? Like it can be a huge thing. I'm dealing with one of those right now. But it's like it's really this. And then the second part, I agree pretty much with you what you said, right? Like having clear footage, like especially because when you do larger puzzle or whatever, a lot of the buyers come like from somewhere else. Let's call it like this. I had people flying from like Washington State to Florida to look at
Mm-hmm.
parcels, right? They wouldn't have flown if
Yeah.
you don't have a top-notch impression. And also, we're in a time where we're in a buyer's market and where we have a lot of competition, right? And now when we really have great marketing footage and showcase the property really well, right? Then you will just stand out to the competition because most of the realtors that list don't do it. They drive by in their truck, do a couple of
Hmm.
pictures, make a screenshot from the county assessor's map, and that's probably 90% of the listings you see out there, right? And when you showcase that, and with land, it's anyway super hard because when they go there, what do they tree? Well, what do they see? Most of the time, it's just a bunch of trees and brush, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
so, and with the drone footage, you can also showcase this is what it really looks like, right? Like,
Yeah.
so, you get that. So, yeah, and here's an interesting thing I wanted to share. We did it's 2 or 3 years back. We did a test on land.com about drone footage. So like we were comparing over the course of 3 months listings that had drone
Hmm.
footage, really well done, right? Like in different angles and all of that, and listings that didn't have that. And we tested also different listings. First of all, listings that had really good drone footage had around 3 times the inquiries and views than listings that didn't have, right? Because
Hmm.
the people are scrolling and like on land.com, I think it's always pretty strong because and they're the no matter what others say, they're beside of the MLS probably the strongest like lead source in our universe. They have like 8, 9 site visitors a month, but like everyone that's
Yeah.
coming on there, you're in direct competition just with other land properties, right? With nothing else but
Hmm.
other land properties. So when you have really great footage that looks really, really good, and the more you can highlight this curbside appeal, right? Like on the first view, the more like I always think about it like this when I show my wife like a picture of like a listing a realtor there with some things, or I show her this amazing panorama views, where would she go, right? This is how I'm always thinking about that. How can I
Hmm.
convince her to get out of there? I don't know if the same thing with you, but like my wife makes a decision about that, right? So no, I think that's you nailed that pretty much there. It's a due diligence piece and like a marketing piece in there. Anything you want to stack on that? What I just said? Sorry, I was just talking a lot. I got in a rampage
No,
here,
no,
but
you're good. Um, no, no, I agree with everything you said there.
yeah, absolutely. So walk us a little bit like, I mean, the normal process of hiring a drone pilot, you do like a local research, do that. How does it work in drones.io? Like, how does that work? Because your service, since I've used it last, right, like has evolved like drastically, right? You don't let anyone in the dark. Walk us a little bit through that. Like, how does that work in the details?
Sure. We have two different options for getting drone footage. We have our marketplace is what we've been talking about, and we have done for you packages as well. So our marketplace, what you do is you post a job with the location. You'll put details of the job in, similar to what you've done before. If any of you use droners.io, and it'll notify all the pilots within range. Oftentimes it's hundreds of pilots, sometimes it's thousands. We have lots and lots of active pilots, and they'll all get notifications, and then they'll start bidding on your jobs. From there, we have chats on the platform, so you can message the pilots, and you'll see they have portfolios, so they'll have reviews. You can see every job they've done. They'll also have sample work on there, sample photos, sample video. So you can kind of see who's done land work, who's highly rated. And from there, you chat, you can ask questions, and then you hire the pilot on there. And then you basically everything from start to finish will be taken care of on the platform through payment at the end. And then you can post as many jobs as you need, rehire pilots. We have multi-flight options, things like that. And then we also have done for you packages, and that's if you don't want to go through all those steps on the marketplace, you can purchase a package. We'll handle all the logistics for you. We have professional editors on staff, so we'll make all the photos look great, all the video. If you can purchase marketing videos as well, we'll make all that look great. But the done for you packages, a lot of land investors like that just because it's time saving, where they'll just place an order and and then they get their photos back. They'll have a little due diligence report with it. They don't have to worry about anything. We'll get the pilot out there. We'll handle every piece of that. We'll get everything back. We'll send it over to my editors. We'll make everything look nice and professional MLS ready, and then just send you the photos, and you get them back. So either option. Some people prefer more control with the marketplace, and some people just like to save time with the done for you packages.
I love that. And I think that's pretty strong, right? Because, like we went through multiple iterations of that, right? Like, how do you brief a drone pilot? What do you want to see, right? How does all of that that look like? And like when you walk the property, what do you want to see and all that? And I think was a done for you option. You take all the experience you had and give it to to the people, right? Like, let's talk a little bit about that. So when people are here on the call, they want to hire a drone pilot, like what should you do with them? What should you tell them? Like what do you want to see? Like what's your brief like on a pilot looking like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's a few things you can do. You can ask the pilot. So that's the nice thing about having the chat, and you'll be able to see pilots that have there's pilots that have done hundreds, even some that have done thousands of land jobs. So you can always ask the pilot what they recommend and what they can do for you. I can share a template that I use for a long time. Um, of just kind of because you won't really know like they can go for it, so like just all the different angles, so you can go up to 400 feet usually unless there's FAA restrictions, but the highest you can go is 400 feet legally. So we usually do shots of all different angles from 400 feet, 200 feet, 150 feet, or 200 150, 200 feet, 50 feet, and then a certain amount of ground photos, and have some specs with that. So I can share that with the group, kind of a basic template that they could use for their posting. And then we have specific things for done for you. We just have a standardized process, and that's where, and we work with the same. Once we work with the same pilots over and over again, so they know what we like and what we need. Um, yeah, so we have a standardized process for the done for you packages that's similar, but maybe a little bit more detailed um, than what you would give to the marketplace.
I love that. You want to share that with us? Who's cool with that? Like, I don't know. Musaf, can Mike share his screen?
We'll have to find the template.
Yeah, he
Um,
can.
Oh, we can keep on talking. We can lead over that, like
okay.
on that. I love that. So probably you have run like hundreds of drone jobs, right? Like at this point, right? Or thousands of drone jobs, right? Just a little bit like maybe the top one to three funny and crazy stories that you've experienced, because I have had a lot of those out there. Like, I'm like maybe give us a little bit like a little story, like what happens out there with these guys in the field.
There's been some the ones I've well, yeah, I mean I've heard some crazy stories. I mean, one of my jobs, I think this was before I owned droners, is I had a drone pilot out there and he got shot at. He didn't get shot, thankfully. But I've had that more than once where people have approached the drone pilots, even though they have access to go there, just neighbors, either threatening them or shooting. I don't think he tried to, I think he shot in the air, shot near him, which is scary enough. And he ended up getting out there and then having to call. Then you got to call like the neighbor, like you got to call the owners, like, hey, talk to your neighbor, tell them we're allowed to be here. So those are probably the craziest that I can think of. And that's happened more than once. Just drone pilots going out there doing their job and people not liking drones, not liking that technology, thinking they're getting spied on, or just kind of being assholes, to be honest, and just threatening or trying to interfere, trying to get like multiple experience with that. I mean, overall, if you look at like the thousands and thousands of jobs we've done, not the small percentage, but it does happen sometimes, especially like in rural America where people just don't trust that technology and think they're getting spied on and things like that.
I had a similar experience in Florida. One of our drone pilots went out there, and the neighbor started shooting at the drone. He took it down. Like
Yeah,
this is what it
really
really
took it
was.
down.
And yeah, he hit it actually. And I got a call from that droner, and he said like, "Hey, I'm super sorry, but like I can't finish the job." I said, "Why? Hey, that guy shot my drone down, right?" Like, and yeah, how is it like? From a legal perspective, that brings me like maybe to a point that's interesting to the listener. When you hire a drone pilot, he goes out there, takes shots, and obviously he takes shots from the area because like he doesn't exactly know the property boundary lines and all that, right? How's that from a legal perspective? What are those guys allowed to do? What are they not?
Yeah, so you can go up to four. There's a lot of gray areas on this, but what you can do is you can go up to 400 feet. You don't have to be directly over the property. The property that you're shooting, you have access to shooting, has to be your primary target. But you can still well, you can take photos of the surrounding area. One of the main rules is keeping. You have to keep the drone, the pilot, the drone in line of sight. So you can't just have it like flying miles over where you can't see it anymore. It has to be in the pilot's line of sight, unless you get special approval. So that's one of the main ones. But legally, they're perfectly fine doing that. Even shooting around the area. I think people just if they see a drone over their house or over their property, they obviously or sometimes they get concerned. Some of the gray areas is I've had people try to hire me to like to spy on construction pilots or spy on like construction sites or maybe competitors. They're doing AI data facilities, and they're odd because they tell me like I'm starting doing these jobs. I'm getting ready to do them, and then I'm always like, "Do you have access to get on this property?" He's like, "No, you just got to do it from you have to do it from the neighbor's business or you have to do it from the street." And I never do those because that's really where it gets into a gray area where if you're intentionally like going into over someone's property and trying to get information of them, it's very state by state, but people think that's legal just because of say, hey, we can shoot you up to 400 feet anywhere as long as line of sight, FAA regulations. It's like, yeah, kind of, but you also can't just spy. Like you can't get down and see if like what see if fans are spinning right now or not. That gets very and if something were to happen, the drone insurance wouldn't cover it. So that gets very sketchy. But in terms of land jobs, there's nothing. The main thing is you can go up to 400 feet and keep it in line of sight. There's rarely regulations in terms of in certain areas you can't go high. There might be a 50-foot maximum, a 200-foot maximum, 100-foot maximum. That's generally by airports. So usually you're okay with land jobs. Occasionally, I've had some that are like close to military bases, and that those are harder to get approval. You don't do obviously don't do those if you don't have approval because you get a lot of trouble for that with messing with a military base. But generally, in rural America, you're pretty much free to go because there's not a lot of restrictions, especially if there's no airports around.
Interesting. Okay, so you're allowed. There's no law like privacy and all that for people that. Okay, that's
As long as you're doing it for marketing, you have permission to shoot that. Yeah, you're perfectly fine. The gray area is when people try to do sketchier things and kind of get around the law a little bit. But when you're doing it for property marketing, it's a well-known thing. Um, as long and yeah, you're fine doing that.
I love that. That's cool. Okay,
And they need to have
so
you need to have Part 107, and all of our pilots are Part 107 certified. So there is a certification from the FAA that you need to be to. So you can't just fly up a drone and start making money from it. You have to have a Part 107. So that'd be another piece. And they're trained. And when you get a Part 107, you're trained on where you can shoot, what you're allowed to do. So they are all of our drone pilots are certified by the FAA and allowed to commercially shoot. So that's another piece of it too.
bring us a little bit in the business part of that, right? Like, I mean, doing that is super beneficial. It comes at a cost, right? And I'm like always like a big advocate. Like everyone is talking about ROAS and all that stuff, like on the lead generation end of things. Nobody really has a disposition budget for properties. And guys, I really, if you are on this call or watching this call, you need to think about that, right? Like when you make decisions about selling a property, because due diligence, underwriting, marketing, selling, transactional coordination, all of that costs money in form of your time, right? Or in form of money that you need to pay other people to perform those jobs, right? So let's talk a little bit about the cost piece of that. And I know you have two options: the marketplace. Maybe let's start there. What do you see? Are people doing in the marketplace? And what's a question in the chat also? I think like what does it cost? So like we're gonna cover that right now. What does it cost to hire a drone pilot? Like when you do that, and also like how do your done for you packages look like? And I've seen them and I like them very much, and I think they're super reasonable. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the prices in the marketplace can vary quite a bit. You're paying for a couple things. You're paying for experience. I mean, you'll see some pilots that have 400 5-star reviews, 200 5-star reviews. You'll see some brand new pilots. Brand new pilots can be great too. They're just not as experienced. So you're paying for experience. It also depends on how rural the property is. So we have thousands and thousands of pilots. But sometimes areas like in big states like Arizona, certain areas are rural, so someone might have to drive 2 hours to get there, so that's going to increase the cost. But anywhere, I mean, and so anywhere from it's hard to say, but anywhere from 200, 150, 200 to 400, 500 plus, depending on do you want video as well? Do you want it depends what you're asking for as well. Do you want marketing videos? Do you want professional editing? how far is the pilot going to have to drive? Um, so it very much depends, and that's kind of the good thing. You'll get bids, and you can talk, and you can say, "Hey, I'm going to pay a little bit more for this very experienced pilot. He's done hundreds of land jobs. They know what they're doing. He knows what he's doing. He or she knows what he's doing. They're doing, and I'm going to hire them." Or if you're really budget conscious, you say, "Hey, this person has no flights right now, or maybe they have one flight, but I'm going to take a shot on them. I can get them for a little bit less money." So you have a lot of options, and sometimes you want a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Certain properties, maybe if you have a big listing, you're going to want a marketing video with it. You're going to want more video footage. If it's a smaller, maybe a $40,000 sale or something, maybe you don't want to. You just say, "I just need photos. Take care of this, do the due diligence, and you don't need as much."
Yeah, absolutely. Um, So baseline is it depends on distance of the pilot, obviously. It depends on like some pilots, this is what I know from my experience, also offer editing. Otherwise, you get the raw data, right? This is what you need to think about. Like you get a couple of gigabytes of, especially when you shoot videos, right? It can be quickly a couple of gigabytes of data you get for them. So if you're using Google Drive, right, like have enough space there that you
Yeah.
share with them. And you know, but I think, yeah, $200 to $500 is probably something like that you want to budget for that, right? If that makes sense. Walk us a little bit. You have
Yes.
a done for you option too. How does that work? Because I think there's three of those, right?
Yes. So the base package is 279, and that's just photos, or that's aerial photos, ground photos, and that's just that those are raw photos, so no professional editing. There's some people that have editors on their team, or they like to do it on themselves, or some people mainly use it for due diligence. The most popular package is 329. That's our standard package. It's the same thing. So you get 20 aerial photos, and of all different angles. You get 10 ground photos. All of them are freshly edited, and then you get two parcel overlays. So we'll give you two nice shots with parcel overlays, so you can see. So the end buyers can see exactly where the property is. Those can be very beneficial, because if you just have shots of trees, say it's a 20-acre property, you don't really know where it is. So we have nice parcel overlays on there, so the end buyer or end potential buyers can see exactly where the property lays and see how much space it takes up, and each piece of it. And then we have a premium package, and that is, I want to say that's 30 aerial, 20 ground, and then also comes with a minute to a minute 30 marketing video. So that marketing video, we'll have music in it. We'll show a bunch of different shots in the very beginning. We'll have the parcel overlays come through and show exactly where it is, and we'll show all the different angles, kind of go in and just make it nice and professional. And those are great for, that's $549, and that's fantastic if you have like a higher listing, or if you use marketing videos. Some people like the marketing videos because they like to kind of share it on their Instagram, or share it on their Facebook or wherever. Just market, hey, I got this property. But then you can also use it on certain, it's for just for your website and for certain avenues of disposition as well. And that's very good, especially if you have a higher value property. And I like to think of it too, especially like look how small the cost of this is relative to the profit you're going to make on this deal. Think of what you lose without it. And that's why I really like the done for you package. You're gonna get very consistent results. Just because we have a very standardized process, we have very good editors, and it's the same thing over and over again. We've done it so many times, which is very standardized. But think of what you're missing out. Like if you with the potentially people, we're in a market where you have a limited buyer pool, people potentially going over people that would visit if they could see the property well in the listing, just skipping over it and potentially losing. Maybe it takes a few weeks extra to sell because of potentially shrinking the buyer pool by not marketing well.
Absolutely. And like from my experience, um, also, when you list with a realtor, right? Like telling him, hey, I provide you with drone footage, right? Like can be a huge pull, especially when you have smaller listing, like south of like $50,000,
Mhm.
where they say, when I don't have any work, you provide me the copy and like give me like some really nice shots of the property. I'm willing to list it because they don't need to do it, right? And as you say, like $300-400 is like a relative small cost here, right? For this. And always have in mind, like Mike built that, he's a land investor himself, right? So he really like built this in a way that it's like pretty like working probably from his best experiences he had in the past utilizing droners out there on those properties. No, I love it. Let's switch gears here a little bit. We will have a Q and A in the end if that's okay, the last 10, 15 minutes, right? We'll open that up and there's a couple of questions in the chat. I've seen that here. Um, where do you see the land market right now? Like obviously you're in touch with probably hundreds of land investors. Like give us a little bit your take on like how's the market right now? What do you see? What's working? What's not working? Like give us a little bit of your take on that.
Yeah. I think this position is definitely a piece you have to focus on. It's not the market. I don't think it's a bad market. I'll say a few things about it, but it's not quite like when I started, where it was very easy to sell land. Money was just easier to come by. The economy is a little bit different. It's something. It's something I think you need to focus on. It's hard to say overall because it does depend so much market to market. There's still markets, there's plenty of markets that are extremely hot still, where if you list something, you can get under contract in 2 days, and there's some that are substantially slower. But regardless of that, I think it's very important to focus on the disposition, just to ensure you can sell because it is not quite as easy as just maximizing the buyer pool because it's not as easy as it used to be. Um, but overall, yeah, it's a little bit hard to say just because there is so much differentiate. Like you could be one county out of Nashville, let's say, and it's very hot. It's very easy, tons of land moving. Maybe you're two counties out, it's a little bit slower. Um, just as an example. So it's hard to say overall, but I think, well, I say overall things are moving slower, at least than when I started. I don't think it's too slow to sell land. It's definitely not too slow, but it's not like where you could just throw up a listing at any price and you don't get offers like you used to anymore. It's I used to get a lot. I used to see a lot more competition on the buy side, and it does seem to be much more of a buyer market now for land investors. It seems like it's been that for the last couple of years. Kind of not a bad market, but just different than when I think probably when you were doing this initially too, but especially around like COVID time in 2020 when you could just do whatever. You could buy anything higher price and then put it on the market, and you start getting offers right away. So it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, I see it the same. I think the market is right now really at that point where you first of all need to be really conscious where you market to, like really
Mhm.
aware, really
Yeah.
make good offers that work, that give you room
Yes.
for
Yeah.
doing that. Because I had an interesting discussion with somebody like a couple of days ago, like a really prominent like investor, and he said something that stuck with me. And he said like, in the end, the market is what are people willing to pay you, like an actual buyer. This is what really the market is. We all think about this data and all that, and like I feel like when you start in 2021, I started in 2020. It was more like people were under the impression they have so much cash, they were just making like fun purchases, right? To just like go out there
Yeah.
and doing that, and that's
Yeah.
completely gone. And it's like also like the when you do infill lots or single family residential lots, right? Like that's super hard to come by because people are not building because they can't afford the rates. So and
Yeah.
then I think the most important lever how you can bring sales in is through price, but also then through good marketing. Because even when we have seen that, like even with frequent price cuts, when your marketing is not 100% on point, then you're just like really fucked, if that makes sense, right? Like, sorry to say it like this, but Jean is not here, right? Otherwise, she would come after me again. So, um, but I think these are the two things that lead to success, and I think you're pretty much right. So, I want to say that was so far an awesome session. How can get people in touch with you? Like, how does that work when they want to work with droners?
You can go to droners.io. If you have any questions, you can email support to. I'd say the best place to go would be go to droners.io. And we're droners.io on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. So you can view us on social. But the most direct thing would be go to droners.io. And that kind of we can show you how to go through how you can use the platform through there. I have a bunch of tutorial videos. And you can always send an email if you have any questions to support at droners.io, and we'll get back to you right away.
That's great. I love it. Cool. Um, Mike, thank you for your time. What nobody knows is you jumped in for your brother Ron, who will come next week, right? Like was the land portal. He was sick this week and he came in here on a short notice, so he was super flexible. Thank you for that. Um, we're gonna open it up for Q&A, and there were a couple of questions in the chat. I'm gonna go over that first, and then hey, be like David, like Gerson, just like raise your hand if you have live questions you want to ask. I'm gonna go through the chat right now, and then we're gonna go through everything one by one here. So, and I think the first question I've seen here. Was like, do you list of services that you ask your droner to do? List of shots, list of videos, place signage, pictures of utilities, defects. Do you have any kind of like a list you would recommend, like when people hire droners that they should get them?
Yeah, I can here, you want me to share my screen real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is what I use. This I've used this for a long time. Actually, even before I bought droners, I use this. So I can if you want me to send you this PDF, I can send you this as well.
Let's do it.
But this is still a pretty can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is pretty standard shot pictures, and this is similar. We do a bit more details than I've done for you, but we also have very specific instructions, and we need them shot a certain type of raw for editors and stuff like that. But just two street level pictures. This the 50 foot, the 100 feet, eight from 350 to 400, eight from 150 to 200. And those are the cardinals and the ordinal directions. So north, all the corners, and then like northwest, northeast, south. So all eight of those directions at 150. Some bird's eye, some tree line, and then obviously ground photos. And then we have instructions here to take pictures with a normal camera. And you can add to this. Like you can say, hey, I'm okay if you because some droners don't have great. If you want a specific like professional like Nikon camera, put that in here. But doing due diligence essentially on the thing. If you have a creek or anything, yeah, get the top shots, but also they need to take a picture of that. And and just asking for some additional things here about the slope, about access, things like that. And then just a thing here, because oftentimes you don't have an address. It's going to be based on GPS, so just letting them know that. But I can send this over to you, and if you want to share it with your community, that'd be awesome.
Just we have something like that too, and I can share that too. Maybe we want to send that out, or maybe merge that together. I think there's some good things you have, and I have some really good things. I just pulled it up right now. Like it's pretty comprehensive,
Yeah,
that thing. I'm
yeah.
gonna
And
share
this is
that.
pretty
Share
basic
that.
too. So if you wanted video clips and things like if you wanted video clips, you can always add that. This is just a very basic shot list
Yeah.
that you can get and then add whatever you need.
Hey, I have a question for you around that. Video or not? What's your take on that?
I like it. That's a good question. It depends. It depends how you're going to market the property. I think what I mentioned before was if it's a more valuable listing, like I don't know if I would get a video on a $20,000 property, $30,000 property, but definitely if you're looking at six-figure property, I think they can be very valuable because they just make everything look better. It's a great marketing tool. It's another way to really show off the property and it's a professional way to market. And again, you're showing all the it's not static. So you're showing the shots, you're zooming, you're speeding up at certain times, slowing down. You have music in the background. You're seeing the parcel overlays, not just from the pictures, but as the drone's moving, you can see the parcel overlays. So I'm definitely a fan of them. I don't know if I do them on the smaller listings, but I definitely like them for the bigger listings or if you have an important listing. I do like video a lot, and we have like our standardized video, and then we also do I've done some big custom videos too for subdivides and where we can add in that's not part of our packages, but we do custom videos and where we'll add in like where we can put in different clips, we can add in voiceovers, things like that. And I've had people that have had big subdivision jobs where they're willing where it's the marketing is even if they pay $1,000 $1,500 for a bunch of custom shots and eight different subdivisions or eight different eight different parts of this minor subdivision, it's a small fraction of the hundreds of thousands that they're making on that property. So on the bigger properties we offer custom videos as well, and I think those can be very valuable.
That's great. That's great. I love it. I love it. Okay, wait, let's go. Here's more questions in the chat. Blah, 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 blah. Do you ask people like your pilots to go on a certain time of the day or in a certain weather condition or season to take video shots, and or is that happening post editing?
Yeah, like midday looks really good. You can definitely Try to schedule like when we do done for you, we're generally trying to schedule on sunny days. We do have a blue sky guarantee, so even if it's cloudy, we'll edit in and make it look nice. It's still easier for us if it's sunny and it looks a little bit nicer. So looking for good weather. I prefer so there's good and bad. I prefer shots where there's leaves on the trees and it looks, in spring or summer or fall. What can be nice about the winter shots, for one, if you have deals in winter, sometimes you just need to do winter shots because you have to get on the market. You can't wait till it's spring. But one of the nice things about the winter shots, though, that maybe over the other times of years, you can see more of the property because you can see through the trees and you can actually see the ground more. So that is one advantage of doing it during the winter. At times of day, yeah, midday is usually pretty good. Anywhere from 10 to 2. Some people like the twilight shots though, so we can virtually add twilight shots if you want them with our done for you packages. But some people like those twilight shots where you get the sun going down, you get some really pretty colors in the background. So you can also do evening if that's what you're looking for, like those twilight shots where you get all the colors in the sky and it looks really nice.
I love it. That's good. You can do a lot with the editing today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ashley was asking, are there any views or photos that you feel are often missed when hiring droners? And in your past experience, views you wish you asked for after you got your photos back from the droner?
For land, not really. What I've seen missed before is sometimes if there's an attribute that they don't know about, and so that's something whether you do it on the marketplace or the done for you is put in the description. Let's just say there's a creek on the property, but it might not be right up front, and you need to have pictures of the creek. That's something I've seen missed if that's not clearly communicated. Where it's say, hey, make sure you get ground pictures. Like we kind of say get ground pictures of all those attributes, but you can say, hey, there's a creek at this part of the property. We need pictures of it. So that's where I don't think in terms of angles, like that's pretty well known of the angles you want, but there can occasionally, especially if you don't communicate it well, sometimes you don't communicate it, it'll still get caught, but certain attributes could get missed. Or like some people have sheds on their property or barns and they want like extra shots of that. And if you don't communicate that, they might not, the drone pilot or we might not know to take extra pictures of that or take care of that. So that'd be like attributes getting missed would be the most common one if it's not properly communicated. And there's a chance that it still gets shot, especially if the drone pilot sees it, but they might not know it's there and they might miss it. And maybe if it's if it's under trees, they might not see it in their from the sky.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Another question was, what is the typical turnaround time from hire to complete?
Uh, so for done for you, we're generally around 72 hours or so, but it can depend based on weather, based on the weekends and things like that. You can get very on the marketplace or done for you. You can pay for priority turnaround. We'll get it shot right away. In the marketplace too, you might have to pay a little upcharge for it, but if you put on there need this done ASAP, I've had jobs where I posted and I've had it in the morning and I've had a drone pilot there that afternoon. So you can get things done very fast. And if there's editing involved, that'll take a little bit longer for the final turnaround. And I believe I might have missed. Somebody asked if drone pilots can edit. I think that was in a previous question. I forgot to say that. So with the done for you packages, we do professionally edit everything. And then you can ask for editing. There's even a specific button when you're posting on the marketing, like, do you need editing? So that'll be communicated to the pilot and only and make sure just as you communicate, make sure they're good at, they can edit. Some are very good at editing, some are not very good. So that's a hit or miss. And one of the benefits I think is done for you because we do have editors on staff that are
Absolutely. I
not drone
love that.
pilots. All they do is edit.
There's one thing that came up that's interesting. Was the copyright on the work?
Like who owns it?
Yeah.
So what? Technically, the pilot with the service, it is yours. So you're paying for it. We have terms of service on the platform. So when they deliver those final delivers for you, uh, they are yours. They're yours. Like you paid for them, you own them. Now sometimes I've had realtors that want like disclosure forms in order to pay for it. Like they'll need the pilot to sign this disclosure form to put it on the MLS just to prove or put it on wherever they need to put it. Usually for the MLS. So they'll sign those as well. If you need either for done for you, we'll do it, or the pilot will if you're on the marketplace. But you do own them because you own them. That is a good question though.
Yeah. And guys, by the way, that's like let me give you my gist on copyright. which speaks like we got. I mean, we had hundreds of listings and thousands of listings. It's our career that we had out there, and we got sued multiple times for copyright infringement with stock photos. So when you were creating marketing out there that you put out there in public places and you use stock images and don't use real footage like you can get with droners, always make pretty much aware that that all the images that you put in public places are having that they're not like any kind of way under copyright because the people that have the stock images that have copyrights on them, they have crawlers that go across the internet, crawl these pictures, and then the next thing you know is you get a letter from a nice attorney that wants to sue you. And we most of the time we could avoid everything, like, but we had one lawsuit like that ended up like in a $30,000 fine for us, right? So, and that was and that was one picture, and we had at that point around 400 listings on our website was in average 15 pictures. So there were 6,000 pictures listed, and that copyright infringement was on like one thing, right? So it's like, it's pretty ridiculous. Just be aware. And when you use real footage, you just like forego this, like, because it's yours, right? If that makes
Yeah.
sense. So we have one live question here. David, or Gerson, right? Like his name is David because he always says, call me David. So David, you had a question, you raised your hand.
Yes, I had a question, but it was more in reference to the material, the new material that we were expecting from you. You said you were gonna send
I'm
over.
almost there. I need to do two more videos
Oh,
to,
okay.
yeah.
Okay,
You
okay.
know, I try to make, so for everyone who doesn't know it, I'm like right now recording a complete new sales education for our autopilot clients that will be accessible in the land game plan for later too. But like I make one special thing, and hey, it will be worth the wait, David. I can tell you that. I just really put a lot of time in getting into the details in that, and it's really cool. So waiting 1 or 2 days, I think I'll be done latest by tomorrow morning. It just took me so much more time because I was like, hey, should add this and take this off, and this is a little bit misleading, but that what you'll get will be really like, I don't want to say it's maybe the best sales training in the land industry, but it could be. Great. Guys, any other questions? David, can you unmute David real quick, Musaf?
Okay, thank
Here
you,
we go.
thank you. Yes, yes, just one last question. For you both, I mean, either Michael or Robin, once once we've spoken to the county and we've verified that, it's residential, that we also have utility access, we have road access, and we're about to send that agreement. I mean, how do you typically convince them to sign? Because that part is also challenging sometimes, getting them to sign that final stage without, me feeling like I'm chasing them, right? Is is that clear? Is my question clear?
Good. Like, Mike, you want to say something about that? You have signed hundreds of contracts probably too, right? So like, with like, you have two people that can answer that pretty well on this call here.
Um, yeah, I've done a lot. How I do it, I don't know. I mean, I don't do full due diligence until I have a signed contract. Like I'll do an analysis, but I'm not going to commit to doing like a full due diligence until I have a signed contract from the buyer. So I'm not calling a county. Like I'll go into land portal, or you go in your site. I'll analyze and see what I can get. Um, I'd say maybe you don't want to chase, but I'm aggressive. Like I'm gonna keep following up with them until they say no. And it's kind of like I don't really chase those. Like this is our offer, this is what we can do, and I'll give them. Maybe I'll give them the depends on the situation, but they'll have based on what you're saying. It sounds like they already said yes. And you just need to sign a contract. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's what you meant or not. But
Correct,
regardless,
correct.
okay. If they've already said yes, then I'm going to be very aggressive. I'm going to be following up with them every day, because they're ready to go. They said yes, say, and just kind of let them know, hey, we're ready to go. We got the title companies ready. Let's move forward with this. So I'm going to be aggressive and follow up with them very regular every day. Not going to be mean about it. Going to keep it very open and keep it light. Ask them if they need it, and you don't even say, hey, do you need anything from me to get this signed? See if they need anything from you. But that's gonna be my approach.
Okay, so
And I think, like let me give you like one or two more things on that. I think what you want to review is like when they don't sign the contract, there's still something open that you haven't answered, right? There's still some friction. So probably you don't have the motive right, or you don't have like they still don't trust you, or you don't have enough rapport. Like review their conversations, maybe go back, listen to your call recordings and see like what did they tell you that you didn't cover? Does that make sense? Like, because now it's like, hey, okay, like I love to sign contracts on the phone, right? That takes for forever and you need to draft them up and send them out. But like I normally don't let them go because when you let them go, you lose the grip a little bit, right? So when you have them on the phone, okay, let's do it right now. Like who needs to be on there? Draft that agreement, send, did you get it? Because now you're really in the objection handling phase. And when you let it slip, they're scared of something. Does that make sense? Like they sign because for them something is missing. You need to find that missing piece right now, right? And it's easier to do that like on a closing call, right? Like and have them in there in the setting than reinventing the wheel. Like so, I'm creating this situation that you let them in the end of the closing call, everyone agrees, okay, hey, give me like 2 minutes to draft the contract. And you get all the details from them, draft it up. Okay, like give me another minute. I threw it in signature software. It's now in front of you. What are the questions around that? Does that make sense? So don't let them go until they sign. This is what I want to say, probably, right? Because now when they don't sign, there's some real objections, right? Like, does that make sense? And this is where you want to go after. And sometimes it can be like I have people that have their lawyers involved looking at Glenn like real quick. They want to forward that to their attorneys, right? And then want that to be reviewed, and that's okay. You can't avoid that, but you want to make sure that that's the only thing that's standing between you and the close. Does that make sense?
yes, yes, sir.
Right? So
Appreciate that.
like go through all the objections.
Great
Um,
nuggets. All right.
good question. Will be covered in the course, by the way, David. So good for you. Hey, Tim, Tim, you have another question? We have time for one more, and then we're gonna kick that off.
Yeah, you guys talked about using the drone uh footage for due diligence. Like, has your perspective changed? I think Mike, you mentioned that you used to wait until you've gone all the way to title. Do you sometimes get drone footage maybe earlier, and what influences your decision on that?
I mean, I've sometimes done on the same day, or maybe had the drone or pilot go out. I'm trying to think. Generally, I still wait because you have a little bit of time before going to title. Um, what influences my decision is before I pay for the drone pilot, I want to be very certain that the main thing is I'm at that stage where I've done my own due diligence. And I do pretty thorough due diligence. Like I like to look back. Like I'm going to find all the deeds. I'm going to find the last 5 deeds. I found deeds all the way back to the 1800s. I'm going to read through them because I've had some instances where, like on 3 deeds back, there's a no build order on it. And yeah, they'll catch it in the title search, but I'd rather catch it up front, save money on the title search, save time. More importantly, save time, not pay for their own pilot. The main thing though is I want to gone through my due diligence and be very certain that I'm purchasing the property, and then I'm willing to spend the money to send the drone pilot out there. And that's kind of like a backup. In my eyes, it's like a backup due diligence. Like we're pretty certain now. Let's just make sure everything else still looks good. There's nothing, nothing hidden on the property, no hidden junk, not thousands of tires. It's not underwater. Just in yeah, so that's really what it is. Whether you do it right after sending title, but how I do it at least is getting through my due diligence first before paying for the drone pilot, and then doing that backup due diligence with them.
I see it the same. Like we do the same process. You always have like what we do is we do it the initial take in due diligence. First of all, we confirm comms, right? Then we do like the deeper due diligence. And when we don't find anything there, then we just open escrow, hire somebody with feet on the ground out, and do, like reach out to realtors to get a second evaluation in. And these three pieces lead us then to the decision like, no, there's no title issues, everything is good with the property to, and like the evaluation from the realtor comes back clean. But at that point, you want to spend some money because you're so deep down the funnel. And we're talking about a couple of $100 to make a couple of $10,000 of profits or hundreds of thousands of dollars of profits. I think that's well spent money. Guys, with that said, Mike, I need to say thank you. That was really, I think, did you guys enjoy that session? I enjoyed it very much. There was so much juice in here. So thank you so much for chiming in and check out Droners. We for sure will and do. So let's close that out and thank you so much for everyone being here. At 3 p.m. we have a comms call. So if you have a property, you want to get evaluated, you want to talk through whatever, just come inside school, right? Like we dropped the link here where you can sign up if you're not signed up, but be there. It's always super valuable. Mike, thank you so much. Hope to see everyone soon. And yeah, have a great day, guys.